together in close to a month, I believe.
Right. And then beyond that, Kira's here, Steph is here, Matt is here.
The whole band's here, essentially.
Monique is in the building.
Yeah.
We kind of just got everybody back. So now I know what it feels like when, parents, their children go off amongst the world.
Yeah, and then
everybody
come home
comes
for the
home
holiday.
and you're just so happy again.
Well, it's great to be with you again and back with the audience
You
again
too.
as well.
Unfortunately, though, today we have to start with some not so great news. There have been new developments in the New Year's Eve carjacking that left an off-duty police officer dead. It's just one of the many recent violent acts across the city that leaders say need to be addressed. 3 News' Brandon Simmons joins us now. And Brandon, what more do you know about this case?
Yeah, we are learning some new details. 2 people are in custody after off-duty Cleveland police officer Shane Bartek was killed on Rocky River Drive on Cleveland's west side on New Year's Eve. Tamara McLeod is charged with aggravated murder, and Anthony Butler Jr. is charged with fleeing police and receiving stolen property. But we do have this new today. I want you to take a look at this police dash cam video. Butler was arrested by Richmond Heights police officers after leading them on a police pursuit where he was driving nearly 100 miles per hour at times through multiple cities in Officer Bartek's stolen car. Now, that chase eventually did come to an end in the rear of an apartment complex in Euclid, and he did appear in court already. His bond was set at $5 million. Now, also in court today, facing the same $5 million bond is 18-year-old Tamara McLeod, who allegedly ambushed Officer Bartek outside his apartment and shot him during a struggle before fleeing in his car. Now, Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Michael O'Malley says carjacking cases in the region are on the rise, and while city leaders and police are working to fix the crime problem, they're asking the public to take extra caution.
We had 2 people shot in the matter of 5 days who were victims of carjackings. Citizens have to, for their own safety, they have to remain vigilant. They have to look around when they're walking out of their homes or they're walking out of a commercial establishment or their apartment. You have to keep your head on a swivel. You have to be aware of your surroundings.
Now, Officer Bartek's case was just one of 433 carjackings that happened in 2021 in Cleveland alone. Now, O'Malley says they're also on the rise in the suburbs, too. And Case Western Reserve University says they've had 3 students who were carjacking victims in just the last 2 weeks. Now, Prosecutor O'Malley says many of these crimes are being committed by juveniles. McLeod herself had recently turned 18 years old just a couple months ago. We'll look more at her checkered past coming up at 6 o'clock on What Matters Most, Betsy.
Yeah, it's certainly something that a lot of people are keeping an eye on. We have a new mayor that's been sworn in today, so that is probably going to be a top priority for the new administration as well. Also want to make note, Brandon, that just before we went on the air, we did confirm that 3 17-year-olds were shot today near East 118th Street. Violence continues to be a huge problem here in Cleveland, and we will keep everyone updated on that breaking story. Thank you, Brandon. Jay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 58th mayor of the city of Cleveland, Mayor Justin Morris Bibb.
And speaking of our new mayor, his first day on the job began about 4 minutes after midnight early this morning. Mayor Justin Bibb took the oath of office from a small public library near his grandmother's East Side home, his hand on a Bible, which was held by his mother. Our Mark Namick was there and explains how the day unfolded for Cleveland's first new mayor in 16 years. Mark, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Jay. He's now the city's second youngest mayor at age 34. Justin Bibb was unknown less than a year ago, but won big in November on a promise to bring dramatic change to the city. That's a theme of his brief speech this morning. Though he faces a complicated agenda topped by the pandemic and violent crime, he took a moment to reflect on his win and why the library is special.
As a poor black boy from the Southeast Side who was 10 years old, trying to find my way into a very complicated world, this place was my refuge. I take this oath to make sure that every young child, the next Justins and Jasmine of the world, will have a good library to go to and a good public school to go to so they can achieve their God-given potential.
Bibb has been meeting with key leaders inside and outside of City Hall for weeks, but his first official day is really filled with basic stuff, swearing in cabinet members, introducing himself to City Hall employees, and setting up his office. Jay?
Well, Mark, Mayor Bibb takes over during a difficult time in our city. No question about that. What tops his agenda, and what do you expect to hear from him in the coming days?
Well, he got pulled in early on New Year's Eve, as we've been talking about, with the murder of a police officer who was off duty. Crime has been the top issue. It drove the mayoral campaign, and a lot of complicated issues there, one being that the city's police department is well understaffed, something he'll have to deal with. But he's also got to deal with a budget, and he's got to deal with COVID, something he told me last night he expects to have an announcement on this week to help deal with the city's health efforts to improve testing and vaccination. Jay?
All right. Mark Damick, live from our newsroom. Mark, thanks.
Well, more on the COVID front. Today, the FDA expanded emergency use authorization for Pfizer's COVID booster for kids 12 to 15. The agency also lessened the time between the first two vaccine shots and the booster, now recommended at 5 months after the second shot rather than 6. The FDA says they have seen no safety concerns after looking at new data from Israel on 6,300 kids in that age group, the 12 to 15-year-olds, who received a Pfizer booster dose. Now, this announcement comes as kids return to school after winter break, and some are already back in the classrooms, while others are logging in from home. Isabel Lawrence took a look at how school districts are kicking off 2022 and what that means for families.
School is back in session for some students across Northeast Ohio, but how they're learning looks different from district to district.
CMSD will be implementing our remote learning plan for all district schools for the week of January 3rd.
The Cleveland Metropolitan School District keeping kids at home for the week, citing a rise in COVID-19 cases in the community. Students in Akron Public Schools will return to class in person Tuesday. The district telling 3 News in part, quote, Akron Public Schools continues to align its safety protocols with guidelines just released by the Ohio Department of Health to keep schools open.
I think there's a lot of things that school districts need to be considering right now.
Dr. Claudia Hoyen with UH Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital says it all depends on each school system and the resources, but she encourages getting students back in classrooms.
If we can get kids back to school, it's really the best place for them, and to use the multiple layers of protection that we have to keep them safe.
Resources at some CMSD schools running low before the break.
We were seeing rising cases among students and staff to a degree where in a number of schools, we simply did not have enough staff in order to adequately man all of the classrooms.
Cleveland Teachers Union President Sherry Obrensky says they want kids back in person too, but they have to have enough staff in place. She says alternative options like combining classrooms of students aren't safe.
When you're trying to maintain some level of social distancing and trying to employ other mitigation strategies, it's very difficult when you are pushing classes together.
The priority, keeping students and staff safe as Omicron continues to surge. In Cleveland, Isabel Lawrence, 3 News.
Well, let's take a look at COVID by the numbers. Today, the state reported just under 19,000 new cases in 24 hours. That's well above the 21-day average that now stands at 13,602.
Yeah, Betsy, our hospitalization picture is also very grim, with the state reporting 350 new hospitalizations over the last 24-hour reporting period. And now, for the first time since the pandemic began, there are now more than 6,000 COVID patients in Ohio hospitals. That's nearly 2,000 more than we had in our hospitals at this time last year. Okay, hard pivot now to our Cleveland Browns, who, thanks to several outcomes in yesterday's NFL games, are eliminated from any chance of making the playoffs. And that hurts a lot more than I thought it would to say that out loud. Certainly takes the big edge off of tonight's game between the Browns and the Steelers. You'll see that in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field, and you'll watch it right here on 3 News. That's where we find our Jim Donovan now. Jimmy, what a difference 24 hours can make. Yesterday at this time, there was a chance, and today it's just a game against a rival with not a whole lot at stake for the Browns.
Absolutely, Jay. Hello from ice-cold Heinz Field. When the Browns got on their buses to come over to Pittsburgh yesterday afternoon, things looked okay. After all, the result in Cincinnati at that time had Kansas City well in front of the Bengals. That was a game that the Browns needed the Chiefs to win. By the time they got across the Ohio border into Pennsylvania, things dramatically changed, and the Bengals had pulled off a tremendous comeback, and so the division situation for the Browns was gone. That pathway to the playoffs was by the boards. Then, as the afternoon progressed, by the time they get off those buses, it was apparent that the Chargers were going to beat the Broncos, and the Browns were eliminated from the playoffs. Before we set this game up, let me make this point to you. This is totally inexcusable that a team would have this kind of talent on its roster like the Browns have had all season long and be eliminated from playoff contention with 2 games left to go in the regular season. Absolutely inexcusable. Now to the game tonight. We talk about 2 quarterbacks who are at very, very different points in their careers. First of all, our guy, Baker Mayfield. Boy, he's got a rally tonight in a lot of ways. He comes off his worst game as a pro, maybe his worst game as a quarterback, the 4-interception game at Lambeau Field against the Packers on Christmas Day, where he was just all over the place throwing the football and not to the right guys. He's at a very critical point in his Browns career. What do the Browns want to do with Baker Mayfield going into the offseason? Is he indeed the future franchise quarterback of the team? Very, very much up for debate. Now to their guy, Big Ben Roethlisberger. It looks as though all signs point to, and Big Ben will agree, that this is his final game as a Steeler here at Heinz Field. What a career it has been. And he's made a lot of that greatness in his career against our guys, the Browns. Counting last year's playoff game, Big Ben's record against the Browns, 25 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie. Absolutely amazing. This place will be electrically charged as they come in to the game here tonight because these fans love Big Ben and they get a chance, it looks like, to say goodbye to him tonight. And we say goodbye to the AFC North because it's all over. In a rags to riches story, the Cincinnati Bengals wrapped up the AFC North yesterday. Now the Ravens are second with a flicker of hope, and the Steelers actually still have a flicker of hope for the playoffs, but a lot of things would have to happen for Pittsburgh to get in. But what a story. Joe Burrow and the Bengals all the way to the top of the AFC North. Congratulations to them. They deserve it. Now, the last time the Browns were here at Heinz Field was a great moment in Browns history. Playoffs last year, about a year ago in January, when the Browns came in here and won 48-37, and they left Big Ben in tears sitting on the bench at the conclusion of that playoff game. Let me make this point, though. Remember, that game was played at an empty Heinz Field. There were a handful of fans here. Heinz Field empty and Heinz Field full with a ton of Steeler fans here tonight. A very different story. I have seen many a Browns meltdown here at Heinz Field with this crowd being such a big factor. You know, those terrible towels. They play Renegade going into the 4th quarter. It's an amazing scene, and the Browns have to be ready for that here tonight. Jay, the final question would be, how will the Browns play tonight? They're going to play hard? I hope so. I mean, they still have 2 weeks left to go in the season. Or are they so deflated by what happened yesterday and what's happened all season long? Are they just going to get ready for next season and these last 2 games just become a piece of work that they're really not into? That will be a very key sign I think you'll see very early in the game. Are they into the game tonight? We'll know the first 10 minutes of this game.
It's a character test. And Jimmy, we started this hit by saying what a difference 24 hours can make. We'll end it by saying what a difference a year can make. Boy, a year ago this time, the Browns looked like they were ready to take on the world, and now they're playing for nothing. Jimmy Donovan live from Pittsburgh. Jimmy, thanks. We'll see you at 6. Again, you can watch the Browns and Steelers right here on WKYC. Our coverage starts at 7 with the pregame huddle. Kickoff happens at 8:15.
Well, coming up next for us here on What's New, you have another chance to become a millionaire. The big Powerball drawing happens tonight. We'll tell you your odds of winning and how big the jackpot sits after 38 unsuccessful drawings.
Wow. Plus, ahead in Pop Break, local YouTube star turned boxer Jake Paul is going to bat for UFC fighters. Kind of. Here has all the details coming up.
And Matt, the gang's all together again.
Yeah, feels so nice. I'll tell you what doesn't feel nice is outside. It's pretty chilly. We're going to drop back into the 20s here over the course of the next couple hours. We're already there for most of us. Partly cloudy skies, though. That's the key. We're going to have some sunshine tomorrow and then more snow on the way. We've got the forecasts next.
Well, it's January 3rd. That means here come the bills, right?
It's time to pay the piper.
Those December bills are stacking up, and we know it's not a realistic way to pay off all your holiday spending, but dang, winning the lottery could sure help a lot, most certainly. Well, nobody did win the latest Mega Millions drawing with the big prize of $221 million. The next drawing for that will be $244 million, and that's taking place tomorrow.
The only thing that can make that chump change is the fact that the Powerball jackpot bets is worth more than double that. The Powerball jackpot right now is approaching generational wealth. I mean, it's beyond generational wealth. Your great-great-great-grandkids will never need anything if you were to win this. It's $500 million. That's $500 million. And if you take the cash option, which why not, you get $356 million. I mean, unless you buy a sports team, which I wouldn't advise, you're set forever. The next drawing is tonight. Your odds of winning, though, I need to tell you, 1 in 292.2 million.
That's not great.
Not great at all. That's the odds of winning the whole thing. The odds of winning any part of it, 1 in 24.9 million.
Oh, so not even if you just get the Powerball and you get the $2 or whatever.
Yeah. So if winning the Powerball was your plan A,
right,
I hope you have a solid plan B.
Yeah, not a good investment strategy,
No.
most certainly. You know what is good? Weather forecasts. See, we're not so bad now, are we? The odds of us hitting the forecast?
I'm still getting hate mail, so
we're really on it, like 95%.
Yeah,
Right.
the odds that you get the forecast right are way better than me winning the Powerball. Right. Oh, your weather word today is yacht.
Oh, good luck.
I don't think I even need to explain that. I wanted to make it real difficult for you because I've missed you, and I love it when you have to struggle to fit the word into your forecast.
I was thinking jackpot or something like that, but yeah.
By the way, you could take your yacht onto Lake Erie and check out this sunset.
Right.
Good.
It does look really good. Absolutely, yeah. And we're not chopping up ice yet with our yachts, so that's good. All right, I want to start with snowfall. Snow so far in Cleveland, 5 inches. How much have we seen since early December? 0.6. That's it. I don't want to show you anything else here. You know we're below average. What's interesting is our 5 inches of snowfall we've seen this winter. They've got a lot more. South of here, Tennessee, North Carolina got hit with a decent storm last night. Look at this. Maryland checking in 15 inches, 9 inches in Gatlinburg. Areas of North Carolina have seen more snow in the last 24 hours than what we've seen all season so far with this system heading up the eastern seaboard. For us, yeah, we had a little lake effect today, some light snow showers. Those are winding down. What we're left with is cold air. It continues to funnel in. But on the backside of this high, we've got a pretty quick warm up on the backside. Compared to 24 hours ago, areas in red are warming. That's heading in. Tomorrow, we ought to make a run near 40 degrees. So get the yacht out. Should be a nice day on the lake, right? Temperatures are cool. Pittsburgh's cold as well, 25. They'll head back into the low 20s for the game tonight. For us, we maintain these 20-degree temps, and we'll fall back again into the teens in spots. I think most of us will hold in the 20s with that warming atmosphere as our wind has gone lighter. And then you can see we're dealing with wind chills that are generally in the upper teens to near 20 degrees. National Design Mart hour by our forecasts. Nothing new in tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. We'll have some passing high clouds. Temperatures making their way up into the 30s. But in terms of Arctic air, boy, we've got more coming this week. We'll detail what that looks like in terms of perhaps some accumulating snow on the way on Thursday. We'll talk about it in detail. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. Temp drop on Wednesday. We're much colder Thursday, Friday. We do it all over again next Monday. We'll be right back.
Hey Matt, we're talking UFC, boxing, Jake Paul, lots of things.
There's a lot of entertainment news that's popping from this weekend. Our Kira Cotton is here to fill us in on all of the big highlights. And Kira, local boy Jake Paul making some notes again.
Hi, Betsy. Yeah, the YouTube star turned boxer is going to bat for UFC fighters. Well, at least he's trying to. Over the weekend, the Westlake native issued a list of 3 demands to UFC President Dana White. If the demands were accepted and implemented, Paul said that he would retire from boxing and fight Jorge Masvidal in the UFC. The demands included seemingly simple requests like healthcare and increased pay. But Dana wasn't into it. Paul gave White, who responded with a video of his own, 3 days to accept his offer, but it looks like it's being left on the table. And singer and entertainer Omarion is clearing things up for those who may be confusing him with the latest strand of COVID-19.
Hi everybody, this is Omarion. I am an artist, not a variant.
He's talking about Omicron, which he says has nothing to do with him. In the video, he says if you see him, you don't need to quarantine for 5 days, nor do you need a negative test to dance to his music. In a PSA posted to his Instagram, he joked that the last time he had to make a clarification like this, it was the year 2000 when people were getting Y2K confused with his group B2K. And hip-hop artist Chance the Rapper is proving that he's more than just a rapper. In the premiere episode of Jimmy Fallon's new show, That's My Jam, Chance is tasked with turning Nelly's 2002 classic Hot in Here into a country smash, and he did not disappoint. I think it's safe to say that he nailed it. That's My Jam premieres tonight, right here on NBC. And for fans of the music superstar The Weeknd, new music is officially on the way. The Canadian native announced today that his new album, Dawn, will be released this Friday. Back to you, Jay and Betsy.
Omarion, I love him.
I know,
That's
the poor
such
guy.
a great way to do it,
You know
though.
what? It was well done.
Very clever.
It was well done. And by the way, that new Jimmy Fallon show, what's it called, Key? That's
my jam.
I've seen the commercials for that.
I'm so excited
It
about
looks like it's going to be a great show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It really does.
And Jimmy Fallon loves to do fun stuff like that anyway.
He's so musically talented.
Right up his alley.
Yeah.
Kara, thank you.
All righty. Well, today is worth the watch. It's a little scary, but thankfully everyone's okay. After the Eagles beat Washington yesterday, visiting Eagles fans wanted to just high-five their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, when that happens. So there's a little guardrail there, Bets, on the side of the stadium right before the tunnel to go into the locker room. And look at Jalen Hurts. You talk about a cool customer. He literally, if he was 1 second ahead of where he was, you're talking about perhaps a season-ending injury. Look how close this was.
That's not a small fall for those people.
No,
either.
now they were okay.
Thank goodness.
Particularly when they were able to grab their phones, which they all did, and take selfies with Jalen. Yeah. Like, this just happened.
Nobody clunked their head. Everybody's good.
It's crazy.
Scary.
It is absolutely crazy, but there you have it. And the Eagles won the game, and looking good for the playoffs, too, I might add.
But not the Browns. All right. Still ahead, boosting the youngins. We'll tell you which drug company got the green light to add a new age group for kids to get their 3rd COVID shot.
Also, it's time to get real about your New Year's resolutions, if you've made them. We have a few tips that will help you get started if you haven't, and also help you stick to them if you have.
And as we look ahead to the Browns taking on the Steelers right here on WKYC in just a couple of hours, Mike Polk Jr. is looking at the current state of our team. He'll be along with his thoughts next.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
First at 5:30, we have 3 things you need to know. We have new details about the deadly shooting that killed an off-duty Cleveland police officer. Anthony Butler Jr. is now charged with fleeing police and receiving stolen property. He is accused of leading officers on a chase in the stolen officer's car. And this is Dashcam from Richmond Heights police of that chase. They say it reached nearly 100 miles per hour. Those are on side city streets, friends. Eventually, it did end behind an apartment complex in Euclid. Butler's bond was set at $5 million. Also in court today, facing the same $5 million bond, 18-year-old Tamara McLeod, who allegedly ambushed Officer Bartek outside his apartment and shot him during a struggle before fleeing in that car.
Well, number 2, COVID continues to ravage the Buckeye State as all of our major metrics now are currently at all-time highs. The state reporting nearly 19,000 more COVID positives in the last 24-hour report. That is more than 5,000 cases over our rolling 3-week daily average. With 350 new hospitalizations, Ohio has more than 6,000 COVID patients in hospitals right now. That's the first time that number has been eclipsed. And COVID is claiming 99 Ohio lives every day over the last 3 weeks, the vast majority of which are unvaccinated.
And parents, kids 12 and up can now get their booster shots. Today, the FDA expanded Pfizer's emergency use authorization, which allows kids 12 to 15 to get those COVID boosters. They've also lessened the time between the primary vaccine shots and the booster, now lowered from 6 months to 5 months. The FDA says data showed no safety concerns after looking at new data from Israel on 6,300 kids in that 12 to 15-year-old age group who received a booster dose.
And Betsy, it is with a very heavy heart that I pass along the news of the passing of an absolute track and field legend from the state of Ohio, Judd Logan. If the name sounds familiar, I introduced our viewers to Judd 2 years ago when we first brought you the story of the 4-time Olympic hammer thrower and his fight against a very rare form of cancer. We updated his story just last fall. Judd was doing great at that time, but Ashland University, where he coached the track and field to 3 straight NCAA Division II national championships from 2019 to 2021, announced this afternoon that Judd has sadly passed away. I had an opportunity to get to know him and the family very well over the last 2 years. He literally, positively affected every person he came in contact with. Such an inspirational man, so well accomplished, and his commencement address that he gave at Ashland last year, it's worth your time. Google it and take a look at it. It will impact you. It will change you for sure. He's going to be missed.
It's such a tight-knit community down there, and of course it will proliferate through all the generations that have been at Ashland. You know, you have a connection.
Absolutely.
To that. Certainly the track team, always tight-knit too. Well, on that note, we welcome you back to What's New Today. I'm Betsy Kling, back in the WKYC studios alongside distance, my partner, Jay Crawford.
You know, we were talking earlier in the newsroom. It had literally been a month since we had physically shared the same space.
Yep.
And it's great to have you back. And now we've got Matt and Kiera and Stephanie's going to be along in just a little bit. And the whole band's back together. We are. And it feels good.
It is. It's great to be at home for a while. And, and then it's great to get back to work. And get that routine going again, isn't it, everybody?
Matt remembers that. Yeah, Matt remembers that very well. All right, in just a few hours from right now, the Browns will take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. You'll see it right here on Channel 3. Our pregame coverage starts at 7 with the pregame huddle. Kickoff comes your way 8:15. Unfortunately, no, the game has no bearing on the playoff race as far as the Browns are concerned. They have been eliminated.
And Mike Polk Jr. is getting us all ready for the game with a look at the state of our team.
Oh yeah, baby. You know what time it is. It's Steelers-Browns night. National audience. 2 historic rivals. And this game could not be more meaningless. You're likely aware that we were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yesterday, and we didn't even need to lose to do it. Some other teams winning took care of that for us. That's obviously a major bummer and certainly puts a damper on tonight's proceedings, and it has a lot of Browns fans pretty upset. Me, not so much, and I'll tell you why. Of course I wanted to go to the playoffs. I would have loved to have gone to the playoffs, but let's be honest, this team didn't deserve to go to the playoffs. What we had was a ton of preseason hype, never a good idea, and then the Browns just failed to deliver on that. But here's the thing, no matter what the reasons were for why we came up short, we did. So I can't feel betrayed by the fact that we don't get to advance. That said, I was hopeful, because even though we didn't deserve to be there, I still felt like we were past due for having something good happen to this team that we don't entirely deserve. A bad call goes our way and steals us a game. A great team we're playing has a really off day and we dominate them for some reason. I've watched so many teams benefit from dumb luck over the years, and for whatever reason, none of that seems to trickle down to the Browns. And now we're in this weird position where we have nothing but 2 largely meaningless games remaining and a bunch of bad vibes in the fan base. And that's essentially the position we're in as we face the Steelers tonight in old Benny Boy's last home hurrah. A lot of knowledgeable football people are suggesting that the wise move would be for the Browns to do everything they can to lose this game and the next one. And I know that technically, if I want my team to be better next year, the move is to tank. It does make a difference. You get an easier schedule, and in case you didn't notice, it does seem that the teams the Browns have a harder time beating are the competent ones. It would also obviously help our draft standing, and Lord knows we could use a consistent, sane, deep threat receiver, and the free agent market isn't looking great in that department. From a purely analytics standpoint, it's entirely foolhardy for the Browns to attempt to win these last 2 games, but here's the thing. As much as I try, I can't make myself want them to lose to the Steelers tonight. So I hope they win. And while I recognize that that is totally illogical, who has ever aligned logic with Browns fandom? If I were prone to rational thinking, I probably would have ceased being a Browns fan and attending games after the 2016 season when we won 0 games. And I marched in a parade.
When do we want? Watchable football! When do we want it? Now!
So to expect me to not want to win today against our team's hated adversary and their backwoods, unwashed fan base, simply because it would technically be more beneficial from a purely logistical standpoint, is nothing short of folly. And you can tell me I'm being short-sighted, and you're right. But for some reason, I don't care. I just can't turn it off. Because it's the Browns versus the Steelers, and I want to win. So call me foolish, call me petty. Just don't call me late to watch my team make this guy cry again during his final home game, if we could possibly make that happen. So what do you say, boys? Let's go out there and hurt our long-term prospects tonight. Go Browns! Why not? That's my 2 cents on that, you guys.
I'm with you. Tanking is foolish because, as we have proven time and time again, just because you have a good draft pick doesn't mean you're going to be any good.
Sure.
I mean, how many times did we blow #1 overall draft picks?
I'd rather go in with go out on a couple of wins and like have some good esteem in the room and whatnot, and go into the season that way. Personally,
I'm with you. So, Bets, are you in line with us? Win these games, even though it could hurt you long term in the draft?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good.
There's a point of pride.
Because you're a winner. You're a winner.
That's the thing. You're competitive, and we've never been at the other end of the draft. I'd like to really see what that's kind of like, you know?
I always tell people my goal in life is to watch the Browns pick 32nd in the NFL
wouldn't that
draft.
be wonderful?
That's it.
Yep.
I mean,
that's it. That means you won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Mike, thanks for making me laugh.
We're still looking at possible top 10 this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, we are. I think we're going to win one of these 2, probably next week, because I don't even think the Bengals are going to start anybody.
Right.
They're going to sit all their starters.
They'd be foolish too.
Okay, Mike, this is, I guess this is the portion of the show where I give you the 3 things that the Browns must do if they're to be victorious. And I got to tell you, normally I sit down and I give this real thought. But with this game feels like a preseason game, so I had a real hard time even coming up with 3 things, but here they are. So first and foremost, you have to come out of the gates hot. You cannot fall down to Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh in Ben's last game. Remember, they're 25-3-1 against the Browns when Ben starts. So my #1 thing that you must do, start fast. But Betsy, my #2 thing that you must do here is finish strong.
Okay.
Because everybody knows the Steelers do their best work when they're down by 3 touchdowns. Earlier this year in prime time, they almost erased a 29-0 deficit to the Minnesota Vikings. They dropped a touchdown at the end of the game, which would have given them a chance to go for 2 and get it to overtime. So you got to start fast, you got to finish strong, and also I want to see big plays from our playmakers. Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, and Kareem Hunt, I am looking squarely into your eyes. It is time that this football team proves it can play its its best football in the biggest moments. And of course, now that it means nothing, they probably will.
Right. Well, the thing with me is there's just always been something with this team.
Always.
We go back to, what was it, July, and everybody's like, what's the record going to be?
Sure.
And we had a whole bunch of 16, and whatever. And it was like, y'all just pipe down a little bit. And then you had the people who, were saying, I don't think we're going to win that many games. And then they became the evil person.
Yeah.
But there's always something with this team. Always something. Whether it's COVID, OBJ out, he and the drama that ensued with that. Kevin Stefanski, I did it again. I messed up again. It's on me again.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. We just I just want somebody to kick the team in the butt and go. Just become a team.
And now that OBJ is good again, that's even more painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm still here looming and leering at you, and I have all good points. I have one extra key to the game, and I think that our kicker, Jason McLaughlin, who's had a bit of trouble, should try playing drunk tonight. Listen, I think he's super nervous.
He wouldn't be the only one in Heinz Field that
Send
would
him
be
out
in that
loose.
state.
When do you play better billiards? When you have a couple in you. When you do better karaoke. When you have a
know what? When you're playing golf and you're drinking, it's called swing oil.
There you go.
Yes.
Same thing. He needs a little swing oil tonight. Go Browns.
Right. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Well, coming up next on What's New, we continue to remember the golden life of Betty White. And there's a new film coming out ahead of what would have been her 100th birthday. We'll share those details.
Plus, kickstarting your New Year's resolution for all of you on a journey to better health. This is for you. We're going to share some of the newest trends that'll help you stick to your goal. But first, Matt has got our weather in a jiffy.
Yeah, guys, a lot of insiders here at WKYC, so I continue to get this live footage of you guys when you're working. This was Jay at his desk earlier today. It's much colder. He's by a vent, though, so I'll give you that. But, Jay, I've got warmer temperatures for you next couple days. You'll lose the, frozen chin.
Oh, that's priceless.
Really nice. Mic check, here's what's cooking in Cleveland. We will talk about Betty White some more. Thanks.
All right, it's 5:44 in the CLE. A little chilly out there, Matt. We've had some snow flying around. It just kind of seems a little ironic that now that the holidays are over, we have snow on the ground.
Yeah, when it's not festive anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it works around here. January, our snowiest month, so we can expect more of the white stuff this month, and February is a close second. That's when we bring the snowstorms in, and you know what? No snowstorms in the forecast, but an interesting system that Betsy and I were talking about earlier that arrives Thursday, Friday on the heels of some colder air diving in. We'll look at that here in about a minute or so, but until then tonight, quiet weather settling in, clear skies. Look at that. A lot of you were able to see the sunset. That was nice. We're back into the 20s. Why don't we tank tonight under clear skies? Well, look at the wind down at the bottom. Southwest, that's a warming wind, so we're going to kind of hold our temperatures where they are. We did have some lake effect snow showers and flurries. Came down good in spots today, especially northern Summit County for a time. You notice how the wind just kind of shears that off towards the west and then back towards the east as the wind veers around. Everything coming to an end here this evening. Still some lingering lake clouds out east. Big storm system down to the south, though. This put down upwards of a foot of snow. Areas of Maryland back stretching into Tennessee got anywhere from 4 to 5 inches. They have more snow down there than what we've seen all season so far. Kind of flip-flop. Things tend to make up for themselves. For us, we have cold air in place, but it's warming out towards the west compared to 24 hours ago. Areas in red are where we have warmer temperatures, so that shows you a sign that we're going to warm up nicely tomorrow. Temperatures still kind of cold. The core of the cold air now out towards New England. 25 in Pittsburgh. Game will be just as chilly as we are here, but again, not too bad. Wind will start to lighten up as well. National Design Art Hour by our forecast. Clear skies tonight. We stay steady in the 20s. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Should be nice to see. We haven't had a lot of sunny days around here. Should be dry as well. Temperatures going to make their way up towards 40 degrees. Clouds fill in tomorrow night. That's out ahead of our next weather system. And that next weather system is going to dislodge some Arctic air once again. We've got another decent shot arriving Thursday, Friday this week. Another one thereafter that arrives Monday, Tuesday next week. So we're getting the ball rolling in terms of getting this cold air out of Canada. And on the leading edge of that, you often have storm systems. This is our Wednesday storm. Bulk of the energy off towards the north. We're going to have some wind with this. Remember, temperatures bump up Wednesday, but then they're going to fall later in the day as this cold air comes in here. Here's the interesting storm system. This is the Euro model run, develops an area of low pressure down to the south. Depending on the track of this, we could be dealing with accumulating snow. Problem is the GFS model doesn't even have that at all. So that's going to be a time frame to watch. And we certainly have another system slated this weekend. But in terms of the forecast, this is what we have for Union Home Mortgage 7-day. Falling temperatures on Wednesday with that storm system, much colder Thursday, Friday. And then for the weekend, we do it all over again. Rain, snow, and another temp drop heading on into Monday. Guys.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Right now, time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we say hello to our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, Jay. You know, that's a very exciting time, and people are also very excited about this first story, which is a nice, safe way to travel to. The Ohio RV Super Show will be back at the IX Center in the fall. There you can see all kinds of recreational vehicles and see what might fit your needs for a life on the road. And if you can't wait that long, right now, all month long, the people behind this event are hosting a virtual version with deals on RVs. They say you can get the best RV deals of the year right now. We have their site linked on WKYC.com. And if you are a donut lover, I am warning you now, these next images may be tough to look at. This is a tragic spill that happened in Medina. Now, when the police arrived on the scene, they documented what can only be described as absolute carnage, doing the public service of letting people know there might be a shortage of donuts in Medina today. Sadly, these fell out of the truck on the way to the store. Let this be a lesson to all of us to be careful with this kind of precious cargo. And while we sadly lost our golden girl, Betty White, on New Year's Eve, she, of all people, would say the show must go on. So the film celebrating what would have been her 100th birthday on January 17th will still be released. The producers say the movie is a celebration of America's sweetheart and an opportunity to remember her amazing life and a backstage look at her career with her final interview. And we'll get to hear from the people who loved her so very much. So that'll be January 17th. It really should be Betty White Day, Jay and Betsy. And in case you didn't know this, she did live here in Ohio in 1945 with her first husband, so she's one of us.
And the Cleveland show that she was in. I mean, you know, Hot in Cleveland, that was fun.
Yeah, she had a lot of Cleveland shirts that she liked to wear.
So close to 100. And I noticed, you know, when they had the dates, you know, 1922 to 2021, had she made it just one more day, it would have been at least into her 100th year. Very sad to see her go.
It really was.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. Well, New Year's resolutions, it's time to talk about them because they are in full swing for many. Coming up, if you're on a health journey, we're going to share some trends to help you stick to those goals.
Then we'll introduce you to one of Northeast Ohio's first babies of 2022. That's coming up in our Show Us Something Good. Well, the new year means new goals and resolutions. According to the Washington Post, 40% of Americans will make New Year's resolutions, but only 20% of those that make them actually stick to them.
They're so hard to do, certainly. Well, this week we're helping you stick to those resolutions, starting with living a healthier lifestyle. Maureen Kyle shows us the trends that could work for you.
To know where to start to change your overall health, it's important to know what's changing health and wellness on a bigger scale.
It's historically been a lot of the same, which is I want to lose weight, I want to get more fit. This past year, I've seen a lot of targeted diets. So instead of people just saying, I want to lose weight, you now have a bunch of people saying, I want to support my immune system and focusing on diets that do that. Or I want to work on my brain health.
Alexis Supan, the nutritional lead at Cleveland Clinic's Wellness Center, says she's also seeing diets centered around clearer skin, too. So let's put a name to these food habits to give you a better idea of what might work for you.
The Mind diet is a really popular one that sort of blends together the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet, and it's focused a lot on brain health. That's catching a lot of steam. Intermittent fasting and keto are definitely here to stay in terms of tools to help with weight loss.
Another big trend you might consider trying, seafood. Not only is it healthy, but Supan makes the point that it's not really affected by supply chain issues due to a lower demand for it, so it's more readily available.
All right, do you make a resolution?
We both are like, why is it quiet?
Yeah, that's it. That story's over. Do you do resolutions?
I do goals, and I try not to do unattainable goals. I want to work out 5 times a week. That is not going to happen. Let's just put that out there. Okay, I played basketball in high school. It didn't happen then, and I was on a team being forced to exercise. So, yeah.
I think that's a very smart idea. Make them attainable, but also somebody a couple of years ago told me this. I thought it was a great idea. They got very, very specific with what they wanted to accomplish. They set 12 New Year's resolutions.
Jeez.
One for January, one for February, one for March. That way, when your January resolution gets old, you just kick it to the February.
Then you have 2 when you have to get to February, and then you get 3 in March.
Well, no, you just forget about Januaries when you start for Februaries.
Clean slate.
Next on What's New, ringing in 2022, making history. Details on the area's New Year's baby.
Then ahead on What Matters Most. Even though the holidays have passed, people are still dealing with travel delays. From a winter storm in the mid-Atlantic to COVID, how people are trying to get by and get home.
So sorry.
It's fine. It's no worries at all.
I made you late.
No.
I made him late.
Oh my gosh.
Mic check 1, 2, 3. Laura K says mic.
Well, today's show is Something Good comes from Mercy Health Lorraine Hospital, where we have new pictures of the first baby of 2022 born there. This is Kason Thomas Campbell, born at 12:54 in the morning on January 1st, 7 pounds, 20 inches. Mercy Hospital tells us Kason is Georgie Martin and Michael Campbell's first child, and that he means the world to them, obviously, and they can't wait to start sharing this new journey with their new baby boy. What a beauty.
That's a big bundle of handsome right there.
Yeah, he's so cute.
I like the name too, Kason.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
I like it.
Sounds like a good football name.
It does. It's going to be a star. Thanks so much for watching What's New. We're back tomorrow at 5. We hope to see you then.
What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
Now at 6, shooting investigation. Police release new video following the murder of an off-duty Cleveland police officer as city leaders make new calls for an end to the violence. Also, first day on the job.
I, Justin Bibb, do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear.
It's a new era in Cleveland leadership. Justin Bibb is sworn in as the city's new mayor. Mark Nemick breaks down the mayor's priorities the first few days of his administration. Coping with COVID.
Our students belong in the classroom and we can do it safely.
While some schools have students learning from home, others are back in the classroom, but with mask mandates. And ready for a win? With the playoffs off the table, just how hungry are the Browns for victory tonight against the Steelers? The voice of the Browns, Jimmy Donovan, joins us live from Pittsburgh.